Welcome to Biztech's Enterprise Technology Show, the show where we feature tech companies across Asia, talking about their solutions and how they make a difference in the tech landscape. Today we feature Freshworks, which you may know by its previous name, Freshdesk. Now, Freshworks is a software company which develops and hosts help desk software and related customer support and knowledge-based services. Now, here to tell us more is Anand Venkatraman. He's the Vice President and General Manager, Asia Pacific, India, and Middle East. Welcome to the show, Anand.
Thank you, Brian. Great to be here today.
Now, Anand, could you start by giving us an overview of Freshworks and also a little bit about your history?
Great question. I think you spoke about Freshworks being a company, that is out there to support our customers to offer delightful experiences to their users. The history of the product and the way the company came about comes from the time when the founder of our company returned back from the US and unfortunately came back with a broken TV. With that broken TV, he reached out to the vendor, he tried everything he could to get that rectified. But then he had a massive trouble, and that's when he realized that it can't be so hard when you're at home asking for help to get support. And that is when this whole idea, the genesis of the idea came through. And he said, hey, let's build a product which is very easy, intuitive, simple to use, and at the same time allows a user to get the support that they require when they want it most. So that was the genesis of the company. We started in the year 2010. We started as Freshdesk. And then over a period of time, we've added multiple products to our portfolio, all the way from, say, marketing automation to CRM, ITSM. We were able to add multiple ability for us to engage customers across multiple channels to become a customer engagement champion, as you may want to tell. The company has over 4,000 employees placed around the world, 13 offices globally, customers, 52,000 paying customers. In over 120 countries. So you can see that the promise that our CEO Girish Mathrubootham wanted to make to the world, to make sure that there is an ability for us to engage better with the brands to get the support that is required, is now being delivered true to it to 52,000 different companies.
And Anand, this translation from vision to today, how long was that genesis, and what is the customer mix looking like today?
Yeah. So when we started off, of course, like most SaaS companies do, it would be more on the SMB side. So we were a company, global from day one. So the product was meant to be easy, intuitive, fast to use, because when we started off, we figured out that the promise of the cloud is broken. So cloud came in as an antithesis to the enterprise. So you wanted to create a set of products which would be very fast to deploy, which would be a delight for a user to use.
Yes.
But that is not how it eventually panned out. And that's when we thought, okay, let's give it a fresh twist. Let's start building the product with the end user in mind. So when you have the end user in mind, then you start thinking about what does it take for the end user to use the product more intuitively. And if the end user uses the product more intuitively, naturally, the adoption will be a lot better. And the way the product was architected and designed, it was meant to ensure that the deployment also happened a lot faster. So with this promise, we went out, we found a lot of customers initially who were SMBs, and we also found a lot of mid-market and enterprise companies who again found us in the try and buy mode. They came into the ecosystem, but as the product evolved, as the journey evolved, as we went through the vision, we have a large chunk of both, I would say, enterprise customers as well as the SMB customers. As we like to say, this is a product which, Fortune 500 companies will want, and the Fortune or the unfortunate 5 million will want to use. So this, at the end of the day, the customer support is everybody's business, and we have customers of all kinds and all sizes using our products.
Okay, so Anand, now today, give us a perspective, and perhaps because you have small and medium-sized enterprises as customers, as well as large Fortune 500 customers as well. Give us an idea of what your product suite looks like, and perhaps also examples of how small companies use your products. And also then, how does a very large company use your suite of products?
Awesome. Thank you. It's a fantastic question. So, I would actually step back a little bit and talk about how the customer's expectations have changed. So I can then, bring that back with how our vision is able to marry the expectations into the eventual offering.
Okay.
So while this change was happening even before the pandemic, but pandemic just, accelerated the whole change. Now you have customers who expect personalization. So when you go online, when you want to buy something, at that time, the customer will expect you to know who this person is. So I'm coming here because, this is my history and this is what I've done. So you would want the company to understand the name of the person, the history, the historical transactions. The second is, now people don't go online anymore. People are online all the time. So when people are online all the time, they are shopping online, they are consuming experiences, they're reaching out, they're communicating. So this is a constant endeavor, which is literally in play. And because people are online all the time, they expect fast response, they expect anywhere, anytime kind of an engagement. The other big change as we see in the market, or the progression that we see in the market, is more to do with channels. So today there are so many social media channels which are out there in the market for people to communicate. There are ones which are global, which people are using all across. But when it comes to ASEAN, there are so many local, regional ones which are also in play. Say around 60 to 65% of the customers today are more comfortable even to reach out to support through messaging rather than they would go through a phone call. So the whole experience that the customer derives from a brand is evolving. And this holds good both when it comes to selling and when it comes to supporting a customer. And how we have built our products and ensured that we are taking this vision along is that our products, as I said, we started off as a customer support company, but over a period of time, we added products along CRM, we added products along marketing automation, ability to engage across channels. So what it does is, this helps us engage the customer across multiple touches in the customer's journey. So if somebody is coming onto the website, then you can see the customer on through the marketing automation. You can sense what they're doing, where they're clicking. You can optimize the journey there. If somebody is on fresh sales, then you will have a complete understanding of the customer's journey. You will get a view on the historical transactions somebody would have done. So through the journey, you are able to understand the customer end to end. And the advantage with this will be that there will be no data silos within the organization. So you will start getting a very good view, a unified view of a customer, which in our business is really the most important thing to do. And then we also have products which are focused on employee engagement, which is on the ITSM as well as on the HRMS side. So I'll just share now how the big customers are using our products. Say, for example, we can talk about a large e-commerce company in the region. Assuming there is a customer who comes in who has a history of signing through, say, an iPhone, and has a history of buying Apple products, is visiting the site and seeking, or not even seeking clarity, they're just browsing for some laptops. Then we can offer the enterprise customer the ability to reach out to the vendor, create a catalog, very quick catalog, and give them the list of all the Apple products that are available, because you know who this customer is. You understand the experience. You will, to an extent, understand the preference as well. You will have the ability to create a catalog. You'll have the ability to create some offers, share it with them. The product will also be able to integrate across the payment gateways and just make sure that the entire transaction is being completed in an end-to-end way. And because all this data is available in a unified, you can call it a unified customer record, with the AI capabilities, we will be able to understand the customer's intent and be able to respond to the customer very quickly and accurately. So these are all, as I said, were the expectations that the large customers, users have today, and the large customers are able to deliver. About the small customers, what I would say is only the scale matters, Brian, because the customers, the users can buy from a large organization or a small organization. With the differentiation between the products slowly dwindling, it is only the customer service which is able to differentiate the offerings. So we have
and Anand, that's a very, very good point, because I was in IT, in enterprise IT sales more than 20 years ago, and we used to have light versions for small customers and enterprise levels, which were much more sophisticated. Today, you're right. That's a very big, important fact that people forget. Essentially, the products are the same because the service levels and the demands of the customer are such that they don't distinguish between a large or small company. I expect the same level of service.
Absolutely. And just to add to it, Brian, it is actually the bigger customers which say, don't give me so much complexity. So earlier you had the enterprise products, which will be, everything, all the features packed into it. And the companies will spend times, months and years to just evaluate the product, get it ready, and then another 18 months to just get
deployed.
So now nobody wants it. People will evaluate your product, your experience, not even versus your competition. They evaluate the experiences versus the best other experience they've had. So, for example, if it's a bank, just having an app doesn't, do any good. You need to be comparing your experience with the best online experience somebody would have had. That's perhaps even, Facebook or some of the social media engagement. So that's, if we bring the customer in between, then I think we start getting all the answers.
Okay, and so Anand, now, which sectors basically, from an Asia Pacific region wise, which sectors are you very strong at, and your products has basically been deployed significantly?
Awesome. Yeah, great question again. See, our products, the way the functionality and the product has been, thought out and envisioned is that it is essentially a horizontal. So, as I said, customer support is everybody's business. Anybody who's starting a business will want to first bring in a customer, which can happen through our products, and also support and manage the customers through their journey, which can also happen through our customers. But what is happening is you have some companies which have moved faster in the digital transformation journey. So you have, and at the same time, there are some companies which, unfortunately, due to the pandemic, while they were quite aggressive in the digital transformation and being able to be available online, have fallen back for all the reasons that we've been seeing for the last 18 months. So if I were to tell today, then some of the industries like e-commerce is fantastic everywhere. It's really big, and it's not a surprise coming to anyone. The second one will be e-learning. It's a big deal again. E-learning we are seeing is very big in India, and the companies and e-learning companies in India are also taking the advent and going global. E-commerce, as I said, is universal across the world, very heavy in the APAC world as well. We are seeing fintech also catch up in a very big way. This is on one side, but what we can also start seeing is the customer's expectations, because they're used to being online and being supported online and being forced to go online because of digital transformation, are now expecting a similar engagement from offline as well. And we are starting to see a lot of business from there. For example, even the physical stores, when they open, online payment, a mobile payment has literally become a norm. You walk into any store, any small store in India, you can just do an online payment straight up. When people shop online, when they, on an e-commerce site, then you have the ability to look at the reviews and choose the product you want. So you can believe that you're a very informed buyer. I think that expectation has percolated into the physical stores as well. Some of them are offering QR codes, so you can check, you can see the reviews that are available, offering curbside pickup. So the two worlds are starting to merge, but at the same time, there are some industries which are a bit ahead, mostly the digital native companies. But I think it's only a matter of time because the customer is driving the change, and we will eventually find even the brick and mortar companies and offline companies jumping into the bandwagon.
Anand, because you have visibility, your responsibility is APAC, it is India, and it's the Middle East.
Yeah.
So could you give us a perspective then of these three broad markets? And obviously APAC is not APAC, but given the lens that you have, what are the differences within these regions in terms of on customer expectations and interactions?
Yeah, yeah. So, Brian, I will, put this in a way that expectations at a broad level, tend to be the same. So when you look at the online experiences, as I said, they expect personalization, they expect to know who the person is. When they, come in through multiple channels, when they reach out through an email, or when they call a customer, or when they connect through a WhatsApp or a line, then if it is the same customer, then they will expect that, hey, it is me who's coming to you again. So don't think all of these are, different conversations. As a brand, you should be able to understand who this. It is the same person who has multiple issues, or the same issue which has been reported in multiple different ways, to recognize it. They all expect speed, and they all expect the ability to be engaged across multiple channels. So that part stays consistent. What would vary a little bit is that some of these markets are very relationship driven. I'm saying, parts like APAC are very heavily relationship driven. Most of these regions are price driven. And these customers are also very heavily technology savvy. So I'm now talking about, large B2B organizations. So they evaluate the product very deep. They'll go to the depth. Some of the best innovators in this industry, in the digital natives that we are starting to talk about, are actually coming from these regions now, because these are all mobile heavy markets. So the innovation that you will see for a large population will at many times even precede what you see in the other regions. So broad level, they are the same, but the way we work with them is a little different. And at the end of the day, the innovation is consistent, and some of these regions are driving innovation.
Okay, Anand, in a nutshell, you've got competitors like Zendesk, you've got Zoho, you've got HubSpot. So, you guys are, you're in the same space, you're large players globally. How do you distinguish yourself from the competition? If I'm a CIO, why should I buy and choose Freshworks?
Yeah, great
What's
question.
your secret sauce? What's your value proposition?
Yeah, great question again. So I'll start by saying, I'll go back to the genesis of the company. It came about because we realized that the promise of cloud is broken. The promise of cloud was to make things simple, easy, move away from everything that was there on an enterprise, make sure that a user is able to enjoy the product, use it very, very well. So that didn't happen. And then, you also had products which were, I would say, pieced together, stitched together. What it meant was, you had different departments which were using different products, but the data which has to be central for you to really understand who the customer is, understand the intent of the customer. If you don't understand the intent of the customer and who the customer is and the past history and transactions, you will not be able to give the right answer in the fastest possible manner. So this is true both when you're supporting a customer, and it is also true in cases where you're trying to sell something or renew something with a customer. So, our company is, we have brought the promise of cloud back. So we have designed the product with the end user in mind. So it is easy, it is fast to use, it has the right set of features which are meant for the market. It is very fast to deploy, for all the features and the functionalities and everything that is packed in the quality that is packed in the product. The value proposition is very high because it's definitely a lot more value driven and cheaper or inexpensive compared to some of the bigger names in the market. So that is from the design side, but I think some of the greatest capability comes through because of our ability to understand the customer in its totality, because we are able to engage the customers through the entire journey and not have data silos built between these departments, and have a very strong AI ML layer, which is able to understand the intent in the best possible manner, respond to the customer through bots or AI very quickly, and in cases where human touch is required, and it is required in many industries, ensure that the right message from the knowledge that is gathered is passed by the AI algorithm is passed to an agent to convey. So I would say it is a combination of these, make it simple, value driven, deploy it very fast, and ensure that we're able to delight the customer with very fast service.
Anand, the pandemic has worked well for many people. It's also worked terribly for some people. But companies like Freshworks have basically been growing on steroids because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Where do you see the opportunities moving forward? Because obviously, that whole work from home phenomena has supported your business. Remote working processes has supported businesses like yourself.
Yeah.
What do you see? What is the crystal ball moving forward in 2022?
Great question again. So I think the pandemic, when it came, I'll just tell from my experience. We just got back from our sales kickoff in February, just in time before the pandemic struck, and that's been my last travel, last interaction.
Okay.
So I'm talking about 18 months ago now, and we thought it'll just come and go, and we were still continuing to make plans on what we will do in the next month, in the next week, and everything. But then it came in very fast. We had a good Q1 because nobody was anticipating what we can expect. But when we got into Q2, it was hard. And I would say there are two things that we saw. One, the market was badly affected. For us, a lot of our customers, as I said, on the travel space, on the retail space, they were starting to get heavily impacted. And we decided to take a very empathetic view. We wanted to make sure that these are companies who have stayed with us for years. And if they have a need now, then we need to support. So we were open to offering them usage credits. We also drove the technology adoption for a number of these organizations by offering them free usage for some of the true remote working products, like set up a call center online, or for connecting users through chat, helping them set up their online presence. So those are things we were absolutely open to doing, and we did that. And we could sense that people were also moving very heavily online, because I think we have the advantage position, knowing that we work with so many big brands in the region and around the world. We could see that the ticket surges just went up massively. So you had people who are sitting home, not too very happy about the situation, and constantly reaching out for help. And so many businesses had transformed and had gone online. So what we see now is we will continue to see the momentum in the industries that have gone and that have digitally transformed. But we are also anticipating that the same customers will want a different experience once the pandemic is over. So, I'm just hoping that it gets done very quickly. So the market,
yes, I think we all are.
Yeah, market in general opens up fast. But when it happens, we will encounter a different customer. We will encounter a customer who's more demanding, who's expecting instant gratification. They expect instant responses. These customers are everywhere. They're in all channels. So they will expect us to be everywhere, to be available on all channels, to respond very quickly. So this is what I anticipate in the new world as well. I think we will see the two worlds to merge, to come together. We will have a lot more of online expectations placed on offline, which means that a company like ours, which helps organizations to digitally transform, to engage their customers and employees in a more efficient manner, will definitely lead the path. But again, what I would like to convey is we want to continue with our empathetic mode of engaging with companies which are currently heavily impacted, support them in the best way possible, help them digitally transform, because the world as we know is evolving, and as soon as the world opens up, the expectations are here to stay.
A final question, Anand. What are your final thoughts that you would like to leave us with before we end our conversation?
Yeah, great question. So, I just want to bring up a couple of things here. I want to talk about the fact that as a company, as a business, while we are, supporting our customers and selling our offerings, we need to be fully aware and understanding where the trends are. So just because for some companies, there is a wave of digital transformation supporting them, we can't be just thinking that, at the end of the day, life could be simple. It is important for us to understand the trends ensure that our alignment of the vision is close to it. And if we need to make any changes, any shifts to make sure that the organization is future proofed to deliver onto the customer's promise is continuing to stay. And that is what even as an organization we have been doing. So we have seen the shift is happening very heavily towards messaging channel. We are seeing a shift which is happening very heavily towards AI and technology automation. So it is, and we've also ensured that significant investments from our side are going into that space, intending that whenever the world opens up or whenever there are more companies which go online and get digitized, we are able to support the customer in the best possible way.
Anand, thank you very much for taking your time to come on the show.
Thank you, Brian. It was absolutely my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Now, we've been speaking to Anand Venkatraman, the Vice President and General Manager of Asia Pacific, India, and Middle East for Freshworks on Biztech's Enterprise Technology Show. I'm Brian Fernandez. This video will be on our Facebook and LinkedIn sites, as well as our website, www.biztech.asia. Please like and subscribe to our various platforms. Thank you very much for tuning in.